Well, this is terribly exciting. Roman Abramovich is going to break silence. Ruddy time. It'll be very, very interesting to hear what the former Chelsea owner has to say about everything. He's going to release a book this summer, soon. You can pre-order it. In fact, I'm going to ruddy do that after I record this. We're going to talk about that in today's Chelsea news video. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I do hope you're doing well, mate, as always. I really do hope that. And yes, this is Chelsea news. Nizar Kinsella of the Bibica has written about how this book is coming out. I'm going to cite that in just a moment. Very, very interesting indeed. Because I assumed, we'll get into it in just a moment. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the race for Champions League because it's heating up. Man City beat Villa yesterday, which I'm reliably informed by other Chelsea fans is what we want. I kind of wanted a draw. Well, I originally wanted Villa to win because they're behind and you want everyone to lose out as much chance as possible. But apparently we're all assuming City have done it, which is kind of boring because we wanted City to miss out because they've spent loads of money. They're in court with the Premier League. It would have been funny. But they are great. They're very good. Marmoush is awesome. They're going to get it fine. So it's good that Villa lost. We'll talk about the top 5 Premier League race, Champions League race too, in the Premier League. So thank you, as always, for joining me. Daily content on the Football Therapy YouTube channel. 2 ruddy videos yesterday. If you're yet to check them out, I'd waft you gently in that direction. I did a video on the financing situation at Chelsea and all the P's they can spend and why. As well as a reaction to the Michailo Mudryk lie detector and, what it means for his case, and apparently some foul plays going on there, which is very dramatic, I must say. Such is the world of football, though. So yes, thanks for liking and subscribing. Let's get into it. Yeah, man, so us Chelsea fans, we've been through it, haven't we? Tough times. Related to Mudryk actually in a way in terms of that, PR Ukrainian signing for the new ownership. Abramovich was sanctioned. He had his club, his beloved Chelsea, ripped away from his hands, and our beloved club was thrown into obscurity, uncertainty, and and we've now owned by an American consortium with a great deal of turbulence and unknown moving forwards. It's Abramovich has been one of the biggest stories in football just ever. Him coming in, deciding he wants a football club, nearly buying Fulham, buying Chelsea, doing what he does to Chelsea, changing the landscape of football, and doing a lot for in many ways the economy. The Tories waved him in. Come in, Mr. Abramovich. Do you know what I mean? Made Chelsea great. A great footballing team. Was just a fan. He was this, there's loads and loads of literature, really good podcasts, and stuff on Abramovich that I'd recommend, because a lot of Chelsea fans just know him as this figure in the background that love Chelsea, and it's all good. And a lot of it is certainly sportingly, but he's obviously got a complicated past being a Russian oligarch, and loads of other political stuff, which I get Chelsea fans not wanting to get into because we just want to look at the football, which is fun. But he's a really intriguing story in football, regardless. Super, super interesting. And Chelsea fans are very lucky. Chelsea fans won the friggin' lottery. We really did, I'm never going to eat this crud that we were some really poor team languishing in the bottom of the table. No, we were top 6 club, 1 European trophies, 1 FA Cups. We were, qualifying for Champions Leagues. So I'm not having any of this we picked this up when Newcastle were above relegation, when the Saudis did. I'm not having that. We have a good history pre-Abramovich, but yeah, he gave us the juice, man. So it's a huge story, and we all know he was sanctioned. He's had the club ripped away, and he's kind of gone into silence. I don't know if there's if he, had fear of Putin, if there was when he had the club seized, maybe if he spoke to the government, some NDA signed, just don't talk about it, go. I don't know. I mean, he never spoke at the best of times. To a frustrating degree, sometimes I found as a Chelsea fan. He just liked to sort of sit in the background. But he's going to talk, and there's been a book written. So this is very exciting, I must say. I'm very excited to just learn. I'm desperate to hear his side, and I'm hoping it's not some like really like sanitized, neutral piece of media that's been approved by certain different people. I'm not sure what it would be, but I'm just hope it isn't like, oh, obviously I love Chelsea. I was devastated to lose it. You know, I hope well for the future. You know, and reminiscing about Chelsea. Because as nice as that is, it doesn't tell us anything. I want to learn how he feels, what happened. So Nizar Kinsella of the BBC writes this. Former Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich will discuss the sale of the club in a new book set to be released this summer, giving his first interview in 4 years. Abramovich, who was sanctioned by the UK government due to alleged links to Russian President Vladimir Putin, has conducted a 2-part interview about the £2.5 billion sale of Chelsea in 2022 to American consortium Todd Boehly and Clearlake Capital, turned into Blueco, of course. A deal which took place after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So the interviews for this book took place in Abu Dhabi in January and in Istanbul a year prior, and is said to, it's a year, so there was going to be a lot of clearances. I'm just hope it's good stuff and it's not like, you know, like I said, overly sanitized. I'm not even sure what it would be, but I just want the good, I just want the juice, man, you know, I want the truth. And said to include Abramovich's account over his initial takeover of Chelsea FC in 2004, the sanctions, his efforts in the previous peace process, and his suspected poisoning in March 2022. Right, so this does seem, the fact how he's reminiscing about the initial purchase, I wonder if it's going to be a little bit of a romance piece of just his time of Chelsea, which I'd read to, if I could choose, I'd want 2 separate books. I'd want almost like his, I don't want to know about how he made his money in Russia. You know, let me just look at the nice stuff. I'd like a book about him buying Chelsea and being a football fan and falling in love with Premier League football and making Chelsea great. That almost in itself needs to be a book without the nastiness out the end. You know, just a nice story about him and Chelsea. I'd read that. And then you'd almost want a dedicated book about all the messed up stuff that happens. You just learn about, you know, the all this sort of dramatic stuff that happened. So he did try and he was enlisted to mediate peace talks. We never heard too much about that. Some people speculated it was like a PR thing for him trying to look good. I don't think that's the case. And as well, like it's worth mentioning, I did so much research and I covered this meticulously here on the channel with the takeover. His daughter, Abramovich's daughter, on her social media, I'm pretty sure, forgive me if I'm forgetting this incorrectly, but like essentially posted what seemed to be like anti-Putin stuff on her social media. Which is very dangerous for Abramovich's daughter. But yeah, it did not seem like he was aligned with Vladimir at all, you know. And actually, some people suspected that he was affiliated with him, but he also feared him. Remember, that other oligarchs went missing, you know. So, serious stuff. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and that he went out he looked rough. Remember, he looked very, very ill when the club was sanctioned, and he went out for these peace talks. And suspected poisoning as well in March 2022. So this is in the book. Before these, Abramovich's most recent interview was to Forbes in March 2021. It's always to financial stuff, isn't it? These football owners. Aside from a short statement in January, of course, about Frank Lampard's sacking. And he was very big on the Say No to Anti-Semitism campaign. He often spoke on that. He'd never given an official interview since 2006. Yeah, very much out of the the limelight. And also, it is a salient point or notable inclusion about Lampard sacking, because he never personally put a statement in to any Chelsea manager sacking, of which there were many. But he did for Lamps. So he obviously felt a great deal of sentiment there, which is nice. The book's called Sanctioned, an inside story of the sale of Chelsea Football Club. It's written by Nick Puel, high-profile journalist. What a get for Nick! He couldn't believe his. I mean, he's obviously kept this under wraps as well, because they did this a year or so ago. What an absolute ding dong for him getting this story. Absolutely incredible. It will also tell other stories from that accelerated 95-day sale run by the Rain Bank, of course, of New York, under supervision of the UK government, the Tories, and will be released by Bite Back Publishing this summer. Of course, the funds from the sale remain frozen in a bank account, which is mental, and it deserves its own investigative video. While Chelsea are aiming to qualify for the Champions League for the first time under the new American ownership, which we'll talk about in just a second. Woo-hoo, la la la! I can't wait. I am an avid reader myself. I read books every day. Usually fiction in the evening, sometimes other stuff in the daytime. I can't read. It has to be fiction at night, otherwise my brain won't shut off. I'll be very interested and excited to read this book. I'm going to pre-order it, and I'll react to it as well here on the channel, so keep it locked for that. If you're not a book reader yourself, I could just give you the juicy stuff. Let's move on. Alrighty. Chelsea are in a Champions League race, top 5. I'm gonna let me 1 second. Yeah, here we go. Brought you up the Prem table. Liverpool are locked in. I think they've already qualified for top 5, and I feel like it's tonight they can win the Premier League, or whenever they play. Is it Palace? I don't know. No one gives a ruddy so they've won it. Arsenal, they are locked. So these two are locked into the Champions League, and everyone's saying Man City are as well. Now as well. In fact, quickly, the top 5 Premier League odds, Man City are given as 1 to 10. So they're not giving odds for Liverpool or Arsenal, because they're done. So there's 3 spots left. There's 3 places left, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams trying to get into it, realistically. I think we're all thinking Man City are in now, especially after that win yesterday. Marmoush just looks incredible. De Bruyne is playing well again. You know, he's starting to trust the youth like McAtee and O'Reilly, Pep Guardiola. And a very good informed Villa side they beat yesterday with a late goal, but they beat them, and it's massive. It's absolutely massive for them. And, and I think all of us are kind of saying, right, well, that's wrapped up for Man City. That even if let's just say they finished 3rd. So now it's 4 teams going into 2 slots, and that's Newcastle, Forest, Chelsea, and Villa. And I'm looking at bookmaker odds here, which of course is done by people betting. Of course, I used to say data, but people corrected me right appropriately and how the markets are affected by people betting. I don't endorse betting, but I just think it's interesting to look at the odds sometimes. And Newcastle and Forest are both locked on the same odds, which is interesting because they're joint. Let's remove City. And out of the 4, they're joint first. And then Chelsea are 17 to 20 odds on. And then Villa are 5 to 2. So, as it stands, they have Chelsea finishing 6th and Villa 7. But if basically, because those 2 teams, let's say joint first odds, Newcastle and Forest, I shouldn't really show the betting companies there. YouTube would be very upset with me. Yes, here we go. So essentially these 2, Forest and Newcastle, these 3 are locked in. They have these the same odds on, basically to finish as it is. But the thing is, Chelsea play both of them. They play both of them, which means it's completely in Chelsea's hands. The thing is, we don't trust Chelsea, because they are a bunch of children that have given us no reason to trust them. But Forest, before the last game they won, they had 2 losses in a row. Of course, Newcastle have just got battered. And Tyndall's there, of course. Eddie Howe's got pneumonia. Best wishes, get well. And Tyndall basically overcooked the players and played. I wonder if he's going to do the same thing again, or panic and rotate in the absence of Eddie Howe, and they might fall off. Basically, Chelsea could be. It's away. Both of them are away, and the Forest is in the final day. So it's really tough away atmospheres. And how is Chelsea going to react to that? So let's get rid of the Gardens. Everton's going to be really tough. They won't be able to use Brewer, of course, because he's on loan, and David Moyes has been turning to Brewer. These European commitments will make it a little bit more tough. But Chelsea could be Everton. Liverpool will be champions. They would have won the league. They'll be off their nut. They got nothing else to play for. They'll be in party mode. We're at home. We could beat Liverpool. I mean, we could beat every one of these, but we could also lose. And then essentially, it's those two games. We've got Man United at home. They'll absolutely be all in on the league. Although they would have had the second leg already of the conference to Athletic Bilbao, so they could have lost or won. Their season could be over or still on by that point, which is really interesting. So it's really, really tough to sort of ascertain what's going to go on there. It is genuinely these two games. The whole season is on these two games. Toon away, Forest away. If you win two games against opposition, in theory, Chelsea Football Club can beat. A Newcastle that just got battered. A Forest that has got a win, but 2 losses before. If we can find a way to, if somehow we beat Liverpool because they've already won the league, that will be tails up. Win those 2 games, you get Champions League. I think it's as simple as that, genuinely. But will we freaking do it? I don't know, man, because it's so exciting now, especially for neutrals, because should like one game, one result, whether it's a Chelsea game or indeed elsewhere, can change everything. Like, it can genuinely change everything, and but also one loss can change everything for us. It's crazy. I want to put it out there. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Do you think we can make it? Do you think we will? Where will the points be won? Let me know what you think about the whole Abramovich story. It's very exciting indeed. Thank you for liking and subscribing. We're over 192,000 subs now, so it's a wonderful big community we've cultivated here on Football Yannick. A little reminder, daily content as well on the second channel. Oh, what am I doing there? It's my upload page on YouTube. Daily content on the second channel as well. So do consider going to check that out. All right, take care of yourselves. Peace.